Welcome to the VarsityKansas.com Big Show. I am Joanna Chadwick of the Wichita Eagle and VarsityKansas.com, and we are taping here at KSN. My guest this week is Carroll football coach Alan Schuckman. Coach, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Joanne.
All right, well, let's talk about this team. I mean, you guys are sitting here at 8-0. You head into your final game of the regular season. You've already clinched a district berth, a runner-up or championship based on Friday's game with Valley Center. And talk just a little bit about this season and how fun has it been, or is it just, keep looking forward to that next game?
Yeah, we don't really enjoy the season until it's done, and hopefully that'll be for a while. But it's been a good group to work with. A lot of these kids have been around for, 4 years in our program, have worked hard. We got 34 seniors. They made a big commitment last year when we lost to Salina South to get back to a state championship game where they were as sophomores. So when you're working with a group of kids like that are committed and always focused on the end prize, it makes for a fun year.
Let's start talking with the offensive line. I mean, basically, it's going to be a struggle here because we could talk about every single person on this team because you guys have been so dominant in every area this year. But let's talk about the offensive line, which you coach. And I believe it was Noah Johnson and I, or may have been another one of your offensive linemen who said, we know we don't get much love and we know we get coaches full attention, but seeing Denzel Goolsby or Colton House in the end zone is the ultimate.
Right. Well, I think what's special about this team is it hasn't been about stats. It hasn't been about, individual success. It's been about team success, and that's what you kind of get from offensive linemen because you don't hear their names, only maybe when they miss a block or they get a holding call or something like that. But that's been the beauty of this team. And a lot of our kids, a lot of the starters don't have the stats, don't have the numbers just because they haven't played into the fourth quarter. I mean, last week was the first game all season that our seniors or our starters played through 4 quarters. So, the stats aren't there, but I haven't heard one kid whine or complain or parent. And it's all about the team. It's all about winning. It's all about being together. And I think that, it epitomizes our offensive line. I mean, we had one starter back on the offensive line. The rest played JV last year. And as a coach, that's what you like to see kids develop in your program. It's not about, where kids are when they enter your program. It's about where they are when they exit your program. And we do a lot at Bishop Carroll as far as player development on and off the field. And I believe winning is just a byproduct of that.
Well, and one of those guys is Denzel Goolsby. I mean, I think that I can't imagine anyone putting him under the radar because, we've had our eye on him since he was a freshman and showed us that crazy speed that he's got. But he hasn't been in that position where he's racked up huge numbers. And this year he is clearly running the show out of that backfield, and he's scoring at a ridiculous rate. But he's a guy who's extremely versatile. Talk a little bit about what he brings for you.
Well, Denzel brings, he's the only kid in my 4 years at Bishop Carroll that played as a freshman. And really that just happened because of a need. We had an injury and we felt like not just physically but mentally he was ready. And so we brought him up to the varsity level. So Denzel is kind of reaping his reward. He is one of the hardest workers I've had in our program and very versatile. Plays receiver, plays running back, return specialist. He can play defense if we put him on defense. He's asked me a few times, but he hadn't asked me this year because I think as much as he's getting the ball offensively. But, he's a kid that we can use all over. And when you see the Denzel on the football field, that's only a small part of him. He's a great leader around the school. He's been our leadership team at Bishop Carroll for 3 years, and he's a special person. And he, again, this isn't something that he requests. He doesn't ask for. He likes to be the guy this year because he's waited his turn, and rightfully so. But he's not in it alone. We have a whole offense that I feel like has played pretty good football this year, and he's a big part of it, but yet there's a lot of other pieces.
Well, let's talk about another key piece, which is Colton House. And he's one of those guys who I think of immediately when you say may not have the stats. The kid is an outstanding quarterback. To me, he can do it all. He's your classic dual threat out there. Do you feel that strongly about him?
Oh, absolutely. he's another kid that, freshman year, played on the freshman team. He split reps. He wasn't even the starter the whole season. Sophomore year, he didn't play much because we had 2 juniors in front of him. Last year he started getting a little more opportunity, and then he was named starter halfway through the season, and he's taken off running with it. A lot of kids don't have the type of mental perseverance that he had. A lot of them would just say, "Oh, I quit. I'm not going to work for this because I don't see the results." But in our system, Coach Terrell's been our quarterback coach, offensive coordinator for 20 years, and we've had a lot of people come through that program at the quarterback position, and he does a nice job developing those kids. And Colton is just, he's taken to coaching. He's worked hard in the off season, and he has again made himself a leader of the offense. He is a dual threat quarterback. He can run, he can throw it. He's physical, and he's got a little shake to him. Sometimes we have to slow that down a little bit and just tell him to run north and south. But he's done a great job leading our offense. Our offense, through 8 games, has 4 turnovers, and that's a credit, to our running backs and to him as far as in our passing game.
All right, let's talk about the defense, where it becomes even more difficult to, I don't know, is it possible to be concise with your defense? Because what they've done this year is phenomenal. I mean, giving up a total of 10 points in the first half, 1 touchdown in the first half. Talk a little bit about what they've been able to do this year.
Well, I think, and I could mention every kid individually, but that's the beauty of this defense is they play well together, and they work hard together. I think through the season we might have had 1 week of lapse in practice, and we had to get them directed. But ever since then, it's been preparing each day, each week for our opponent, and playing just awesome football. And these guys have been around. I mean, these seniors, I talked about 34 of them. A lot of them are on defense, but they were in a state championship game 2 years ago. They know what it's like to go 13-0. They know what it's like to lose the last game of the year. And so they are real competitive, and it leads to spirited practices. With our 1 offense against our 1 defense, it's definitely improves us both sides of the football.
Yeah, that's one of the greatest quotes that I've heard was after that Mays game when, you said Coach Trail was not happy. He was not happy with the offense. They were not moving that ball against that defense.
Yeah, it can get frustrating, but again, good competitive kids that bring the best out of each other. And I guess both sides of the football have been, in game time have carried the load. So it's not like we're all focused on defense or all focused on offense. It's about playing well as a team, and this group's really done a great job of that. And again, I can't, Coach Nance, Coach Allen, Coach By, Coach Bland, our defense is, it's been pretty special this year. And everybody wants to compare them to other years, and that's hard to do because, again, I know this year they're our number 1 defense hadn't given up a point yet this year. So my curiosity will be is how we'll handle that if that does happen.
All right, well, Coach, thank you so much for being here. Good luck to you as you finish out the regular season.
Thanks, Joanna.
Thanks so much for watching the VarsityKansas.com Big Show. Make sure to check out my question and answer on VarsityKansas.com on Wednesday. And, of course, you can check out the football rankings, which are up at VarsityKansas.com as well. We'll see you next week.